In Dark Souls Remastered, summoning is a core multiplayer feature that allows players to assist each other in overcoming the game's formidable challenges. Players can place summon signs using items like the white sign soapstone, enabling others to bring them into their worlds as phantoms for cooperative play. Because sometimes you just need a little backup when the gaping dragon is absolutely wrecking your day. Summoning in Dark Souls Remastered operates based on specific level ranges to maintain balanced gameplay. The general formula for the summoning range is your level plus or minus 10 plus 10% of your level. Okay, so for example, a player at level 50 can summon or be summoned by players ranging from level 35 to level 65. Additionally, weapon upgrade levels can influence matchmaking, ensuring that players engage with others of similar progression to maintain game balance. To facilitate summoning with friends, the game offers a password matchmaking system. By setting a shared password, players can bypass the standard level and weapon upgrade restrictions, making it easier to connect for cooperative play. So summoning is basically Dark Souls' way of saying, hey, it's okay to ask for help. You just read that summon sign and you call upon some friendly phantoms, and suddenly that boss fight that was turning you into a medieval pulp is just a little bit more manageable. It's like when you're struggling to open a jar and then someone just casually twists it off on the first try. Is it infuriating? Yeah, a little. But effective? Absolutely. The Dark Souls community generally views summoning as a valuable tool for both newcomers and veterans. For new players, summoning provides assistance in navigating difficult areas and bosses, offering a less daunting introduction to the game's mechanics. Veteran players often use summoning to engage in cooperative gameplay, to assist others, or participate in player versus player interactions. However, some purists argue that relying on summoning can diminish the intended difficulty and sense of accomplishment that comes from solo play. This perspective emphasizes experiencing the game's challenges independently to fully appreciate its design and atmosphere. Some players treat summoning like a crutch, saying, if you don't solo Ornstein and Smog, did you even beat the game? To that I say, does the game give me the ability to summon? Yeah? Then I'm gonna summon. This is a game where I can bring a fully armored sunbro into battle just by reading some scribbling on the ground. If that's cheating, I don't want to play fair. I mean, Dark Souls is never worried about being fair to me, so I am certainly not going to sweat about being fair to it. From Software, the developer of Dark Souls Remastered, has not provided public commentary specifically about the summoning mechanics, but the inclusion and design of summoning features suggests that the developers intended to offer players a means of cooperative and competitive interaction, enriching the overall gameplay experience. I mean, why would they spend time developing an aspect of the game that they didn't intend for players to use? The most beloved NPC of the game, Solaire, was positioned within the game as the NPC that players are likely to spend the most time with, and his central message was that of jolly cooperation. The developers embedded encouragement to use summons in fights directly into the game. It is clear that this mechanic was intended to be a central part of the game. But Dark Souls isn't about giving the players a free pass on anything. When you summon, the game gives the enemies more hit points, including the bosses. But given that there are more people, this generally doesn't overwhelm the strategic advantage that the players have as a group. Having multiple players means that the enemies are now dividing their focus, and thus makes things much easier. Additionally, you are at an increased risk for invasion, since the invasion priority of your world increases based on the number of players within it. meaning that the summons mechanic circles back to the central themes of focus for gameplay. This game is all about using strategy to your advantage in order to defeat your enemies. This ranges from choosing your weapons to positioning yourself on the battlefield, all the way to summoning allies for boss fights. But it also circles back to increasing risks for increased benefits. If you want an ally, you have to risk an invasion. And if you're a player struggling in an area where you feel that you need the support of an ally, the risk of an invasion is pretty significant. Some folks act like using summons is somehow dishonorable, but let's be real. If From Software didn't want us to use it, they wouldn't have put it in the game. That's like saying using a sword in Dark Souls isn't legit because real gamers should just punch everything to death. Sure, you can beat the game barehanded, but that doesn't mean that I want to spend 20 minutes slapping a demon in the ankles like a toddler throwing a temper tantrum. And let's be honest, some of these bosses were built to ruin your life. Ever try fighting Mana solo? It's like getting into a boxing match with a shadow demon that's also your abusive ex. Summoning Sif for that fight? It's like bringing in a support dog and a great sword. It's an absolute win-win. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing a solo run if that's how you enjoy the game. The point that I'm trying to make is that doing so isn't a pure or better way to play the game. It's a challenge run, and if you like those, great, have a great time doing them. But please, don't go shitting on the people who are enjoying playing the game a different way than you. At the end of the day, Dark Souls is hard enough as it is. Whether you go solo or summon an army of golden warriors, the only thing that really matters is whether you had fun. And if you really want a challenge, take off all your armor, pick up a broken sword, and start slapping your way through the game. Let me know how that works out.